Alright, what up, YouTube? I know it's been a while since I made a video. I know I keep promising I'm gonna, and I don't. And, sorry if I keep looking down. I kind of got notes on both monitors and stuff and kind of watching what's going on here. Um, so let me, like I said, let me apologize for the delay in the video. It's just work and laziness, really. uh, but here I'm going to try to answer some of the questions that I've got on there. I got a few other points over here that I want to talk about, things like that. Well, let me start off with, well, we kind of got a reminder a week or two ago. I was actually at home on vacation, and I got a call from my boss. And it's, right away you're thinking, oh, crap, he's going to call me back to work or something. I'm 1,000 miles away. But it was a very different type of call. It was, he was letting me know that one of our, there's three freshwater drivers where I work on nights out of the office that I'm at. And he called me to tell me that one of them had gotten into an accident and he didn't make it. Which, right away you're thinking like, wow, really? So I just kind of wanted to, you hear about things like that happening out here. Car accidents and stuff happen every day out here. But until it hits you that close to home, you don't really you don't really remember it, or realize that wow, it is real. It does happen out here. And he was an older guy. His name was Randy. Good guy. Wife, kids. I think he even had grandkids. I'm not going to go into all the details on what happened because it's under investigation, and truthfully, you'll never really know what happened. All I've been told is basically another truck was getting ready to turn and he hit the back of it, and I guess from what they've seen in the computers, he never even hit the brakes. So, you could speculate maybe he fell asleep, maybe he didn't see it. Maybe the other trailer didn't even have lights on the back. You never know. There's no way I'm going to sit here and try to put blame on anyone or anything. It happens. It's tragic. I feel bad for his family. But like I said, it reminds you that out here it is dangerous, and these things do happen. I'm sorry to Randy's family. I hope they can make it through it and everything. Oh, so, I just wanted to bring that up to anyone thinking about coming out here. When you get out here, just remember that always be careful. Don't rush around. And I'm not saying that's what was going on with him, but just always don't rush around. Take your time. Just remember that it doesn't matter how mad your boss is going to get. Nothing's worth it. But anyway, like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there and, just kind of give everyone more of a reality check again that does happen. So anyway, winter is here, to get on to other points now. Winter's here, and like always out here, you're seeing people quickly disappear. The campground that I'm staying in was full 2 months ago. You look out the window now, and it's almost empty. There's a handful of us left here, and it'll even thin out more pretty soon here. But if you're not from a place that has winter, driving out here is way different than what you're thinking. I'm sure you've heard about snow, you've heard about ice and black ice and things like that. But if you're thinking about coming out here and you've never driven in the winter, I might suggest you wait until spring to come out, because it's just it's definitely going to be more of it's going to be a harder experience for someone that's not used to it. I grew up in Michigan. I'm used to it. It's not that big of a deal. But, I meet a lot of people that are from like Houston or something, or, somewhere really South Florida, and it's been kind of cold out, but not real cold, or at least not what I would consider real cold, and they're already bundled up and, it's kind of funny to watch, actually. It'll be 10 degrees out and they're bundled up like they can't believe that it's this cold, and it's like you haven't even felt anything yet. And like I said, and there's the whole driving conditions. We actually haven't had that bad of a storm yet, and you're already seeing accidents all over the place. I've heard about like a week ago a rollover accident, and which from what I heard, no one got hurt, but and that stuff's going to happen more and more throughout the winter. You get a lot of these guys who just they treat it like it's still summer. They drive way too fast, and you just need to slow down in the winter. If you see roads that look like they're wet, just automatically assume that it's ice. Let's see, what else do I want to cover? So, like I said, I got things written on the monitor over here for things I want to talk about. The other day I went to Hess training. If you don't know what Hess is they're a fairly big company out here and really all around the world. Or at least I think they're worldwide. But they're really, really known for safety. They take safety extremely serious, which, isn't a bad thing. It's good, but they, on the end of the spectrum, they're like the extreme, like really, like they really, really take it seriously. And like I said, I'm not against all that. That's fine. I have nothing wrong with doing things the right way and the safe way. But man, we went to the class, and this guy was a asshole, basically, is the best way to put it. I did not like him, and I wasn't the only one. A lot of other guys that were leaving, like, they all kind of said, at one point they thought about just getting up and walking out, just because this guy, given the class, was he was just kind of an idiot. He's that stereotypical safety guy that loves the power, and you can just tell that that's what he gets off on. Which, like right from the start of the class, he hadn't even really started yet. He just walked up to the front, and a couple, like 3 younger guys go to walk in the class, and he tells them, "No, you're late. Go home. Come back when you come on time." And it's kind of like, if you actually know the hours people put in out here and the distance these guys probably had to come to get there, it's just kind of unrealistic. Had they been even 10, 15 minutes late, I would have understood, and, and the class was underway, but, things hadn't even started yet. So it just kind of like, right away it puts a bad taste in your mouth with this guy. You're kind of like, get out of here, But anyway, I just kind of wanted to point it out. And I have nothing. I'm sure this guy doesn't represent Hess completely, as a whole, as a company. So nothing bad about Hess, but they really need to rethink if this is what your first experience at what Hess is going to be like. If this guy is that, you guys really need to rethink it. And if someone from Hess sees this and wants to know who I'm talking about, then, I guess send me a message. Maybe I'll tell you. But I'm not going to throw his name out there or even where I was when I took the class. I just don't, I'm not going to do that. Because like I said, it's nothing against Hess, and I'm sure that, that's not what their company really is like. But, if someone from Hess sees this, maybe they need to throw a note up to someone higher up and just say, look, if this guy is going to be the first face from Hess that anyone sees, they may want to rethink that, because it was just a really, really bad experience. And I've been to a lot of safety classes out here, and I've never had someone that yelled like that, and like he took it so seriously that you tuned out and just started ignoring him about 10 minutes into the class. I mean, I really don't even think I remember half of it. I just remember that, God, I can't stand this guy. But anyway, let's move on to a different subject here. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is night shift and day shift driving out here, and work in general. But a lot of places will offer an incentive for taking nights. Like where I'm at, they offer $3 extra for taking a night shift, which I am a night shift driver. But I'm almost against them giving this incentive. I mean, obviously, I don't want to lose $3 an hour, but but then you tend to get people that go on night shifts for the money and not, because that's what they want or what they can handle. If you're the type of person, your eyes don't really adjust well to nights, and you just don't, some people just aren't designed to drive at night or work at night. Don't take a night shift just for that. You're putting yourself in a position to fail. You're putting people in danger. You're putting yourself in danger. It's one of the things that just isn't worth doing. So I would really suggest, don't take a night shift for the money. only take it if it's something you really want. Because I see it a lot out here. You'll see people driving at night, and you know that they're doing it. Oh, I'm getting $3 extra an hour or $2 extra an hour, for doing this. But but I kind of feel tired. It's don't do it if you can't. If you're not designed for a night shift, don't do it. I am designed for a night shift. It's where I function much better at night than I do during the day. I'm a vampire, as my boss likes to call us. But like I said, I would really suggest when you come out here, don't do something just because it's better money if you're not comfortable doing it. It's really setting you up for failure. It's setting other people up to get hurt. It's setting you up to get hurt. Take the shift you're comfortable with and be happy with what you're making. You'll be better off, and so will everyone around you. All right. Another stupid thing I want to talk about. If you come out here in the winter, it's going to sound ridiculous, but bring chapstick. Like, God, I forgot this year to start doing it, and my lips ended up cracking all open and stuff like that. And the air is really, really dry out here in the winter. So it's just something you might want to think about. I know it sounds ridiculous, but, just kind of plan for that. Also, I wanted to try to get to some questions here. I've got a list of them over here on the other monitor. All right. One person wrote, it looks nice. I can't drive a truck because I fall asleep after 5 minutes. All right. From the videos, it looks like the field jobs are going away and the truck driver jobs are staying. There's a ton of jobs out here. I mean, in it for all types of people, not just truck drivers. I mean, truck driving positions are definitely, if you're planning on moving out to North Dakota to stay permanently, a truck driver is a really, really, really good position to be in, especially if you can get into like production water and hauling oil, because those jobs never go away. Even if the oil field stops tomorrow, and which I don't think it will, but if it were to just shut down tomorrow, those positions never go away. The production water from the tanks on the site still has to be hauled away. The oil still has to be hauled away. Where if every other job went away, those jobs are going to stay. Now the pay may not be what they are now, but they are permanent jobs that you could make a lifelong career out of. So they are something really good to be into. A pumper is another good one. A pumper or a gauger. They're some places have guys that go up and check the levels of the tanks and call it in to let people know when tanks need to be emptied and so forth. Those are jobs that will most likely not go away either. So those are things to think about if you're really thinking about a permanent long-term thing in North Dakota. I'd strongly suggest that. But and she said, there are other jobs for non-truck drivers. Like right there, a pumper is a good one. Probably a dispatch person would be a good one. It's just there are tons of jobs out here. Plus, there's always the normal, just everyday jobs. Walmart, McDonald's, all those type positions. They pay pretty good out here compared to the rest of the country, and obviously they're not going anywhere. So if you get into a place maybe like even like Walmart, like around like in Williston, North Dakota, if you get into Walmart, you can probably move up fairly quick if you're good at your job, if you take it seriously, because not a lot of people are taking those jobs just because the oil field positions are here. So if you wanted to get higher up into a place like Walmart, this would probably be a good place to do it. You can move up fairly quick, just if you take your job seriously and do what you're supposed to do. And there's nothing wrong with those type of jobs. Even a McDonald's job. I mean, if you're a type of person that shows up every day and, wants to take their job seriously, you go to McDonald's here, you're going to be moved up to manager fairly quick, because I'm sure the turnover rate's probably pretty good. And again, there's nothing, I mean, you make manager, district manager, something like that in McDonald's, you're making a fairly good living. Go for it. If you're not skilled enough to go into the oil field or have no desire for it, those are positions that you can get, and you can turn them into a career. All right, let's see. What's the next question here? all right. One guy asked me if I, you know, the guy is looking for an interview. Jacob Waits here. He asked me. I'd be up there within a few days if I could just get a call for an interview. Do you have any more companies' websites to apply at? I will try to post more links below. When I first post this, I'm sure they won't be there, but I can add them later. So throughout the week, I'll probably throw more down there and stuff. Um, and if you don't know how to get that, there should be a like about video tab or something like that down below. Just click that, and there'll be a list on there. If you're viewing this from a link on a different site or something, then just, come back to the actual video on YouTube and they'll be there. And that's another thing, like, people a lot of times tell me, that they posted it on another site or something like that, and that's perfectly fine. You're more than welcome to post my videos anywhere you want, as long as you're not doing, which I don't see how you can do it to hurt somebody, but if someone finds a way to post this to hurt someone's feelings, please don't do that. I'd like to see how they do that, but okay. But like this guy was saying, a lot of times when you apply for a company out here, don't expect to get a call tomorrow. It's been as far off as like 6 months I've gotten calls from people I applied for, and I'm not saying wait 6 months to hear from somebody, but, I put it in, at least wait like a month or so before you expect somebody to call you up or something like that. But just keep putting applications in and anywhere you can find. And like I said, I'll try to post some more links down below to places that you can apply. And like I said, there are always options of just normal jobs out here if you want that. But I'm guessing this guy probably wants oil field type positions. And, Jacob, if you see this, send me a message on YouTube and, let me know like what skills you have and stuff, and then I can kind of, personally help you out, maybe point you in the right direction to a job you should be looking for. And like I said, I'd be more than happy to do that. If you actually send me a personal message on YouTube, I will respond to you almost all the time. I respond to them. And I can really kind of go through what skills you have, how old you are, that kind of stuff, and I'll try my hardest to, point you in the right direction. Okay, all right, here was a good question. Mike MH, he wrote, I have a CDL Class A, but I don't have hazmat endorsement. Does that work? If you don't know what a hazmat is, it's so that you can haul like whatever they consider toxic waste. They consider oil toxic waste. So you need a hazmat for that. But no, you don't need a hazmat. I don't have a hazmat myself. I've been out here, 2 years now or somewhere in that area, and I do not have a hazmat. You will want probably your tanker endorsement and your doubles and triples endorsement. They're easy to get. As far as I know, it's just a simple test for both of them. Like maybe a 15 or 25 question written or on a computer test at the DOT or Secretary of State or whatever they call it, DMV. And like I said, those are simple. I would suggest getting them. They're easy enough to get. And a lot of jobs call for them. So easy to get them. And if you don't have the time or you don't want to spend the money, or maybe you just don't want to haul hazmat stuff, then I wouldn't worry about it. There's plenty of jobs without it. I actually wrote down a few examples here. I want to go over there's freshwater haulers, which is what I do. Then there's production water, which production water is on the actual oil, on the well site, or the pad as they call them, where you got the AJAC pumping the oil. They have big tanks that they call battery tanks. Standardly, 3 of them are going to be oil, and 1's going to be for water that comes up out of the well and is separated from the oil. They put that in there. That's what, a lot of people have asked me what production water is. That's what it is. It's basically the water that comes out of the ground that, I don't know, maybe they pumped in there, or just groundwater or whatever it is, and it separates it from the oil. The oil goes in 3 tanks. The water goes in its own tank. So production water is that. Truck pulls up, vacuums it out. They treat it almost like hazardous waste, so you're not allowed to spill it and things like that. But that's actually a fairly good job, especially if you're the type of guy who maybe isn't a social type guy. A lot of times you're by yourself. You just pull up to a site, you empty it out. No one really bothers you usually. You go to the disposal sites, and you pump it into the disposal site, and you're done. And then go get another one. So that's actually a really good job for all those guys that just kind of want to be left alone and do their job. It's something to look into. And then you have flowback, which I'm pretty sure isn't considered hazmat. I'm almost positive of that. Flowback is more they're using it on the actual frac sites, but it's kind of the same thing as production water in a way. Then and I got a list here without hazmat things you can haul that just things that came off the top of my head. You got sand, which they do out of pneumatic trailers, along with fly ash out of pneumatic trailers. Scoria, if you don't know what it is, I never knew what it was till I came out here. They use it kind of like gravel. It's these little red rock things that I don't know. It basically consider it like gravel because that's what they use it like. But they go through a ton of it. Almost all the oil pads that they make are made out of scoria. Then you got just dirt. You got pipe if you're a flatbed driver. Actually moving the rigs and stuff, that all takes truck drivers. No hazmat involved in any of that. Same thing with the frac jobs. They've got big, pumps and things like that and stuff that all have to be moved in. They got frac tanks, which are basically just big storage tanks for water and stuff. They all have to be moved in. And so, there's plenty of jobs, side dumps, belly dumps, flatbeds, vac trailers, and almost all of them are the same. They're all fairly easy. If you can drive a truck, you can be taught to do any of this, usually. I won't say always. I've met a few guys that are just can't do it, but but yeah, hazmat is not a required thing out here. Don't think you have to have it, because you don't. All right, another question I had here, you know anything about computer jobs? Yeah, there's computer jobs out here. You've got IT guys at all these bigger companies, like any other big company. You've got a bunch of office people that don't know how to use a computer, and they need somebody to set them up and do all the work for them. You've got dispatch jobs. I've noticed a lot of local companies and stuff out here don't have web pages. Even some of the bigger companies don't. So if you've got any type of web design, that may be something to look into out here. Dispatch jobs. Dispatch just, obviously you tell the truckers where to go. But, that's sitting on a computer all day at most jobs, taking calls. Fairly easy to do. Well, it seems like it's easy. I'm sure it's harder than it is, but don't want to piss off some dispatch guy. One of the guys I know might watch this and see it. But, they got to keep track of where all the trucks are and that kind of stuff. So, that's a decent job if you're good at computers and stuff. Also, a lot of the battery tanks, which I explained, in a few seconds ago, they all have a lot of them, especially the marathon guys, they all have computer type systems hooked to them that send out, the levels of the tanks and stuff like that. All that is computer related stuff that has to be hooked up, things like that. So that's a good position to maybe look into. There's a lot of technology in the oil field, and with technology comes all the computers. So that's definitely things you want to look into. Well, that was some of the questions I saw. I'm sure I'm missing all kinds of other ones. But I'm going to try, I know I say this every time, but I'm going to try to make videos more regularly. So do post questions at the bottom of this one or on any of the other ones, and I'll try to get to them. I'm still trying to figure out this whole new comment system YouTube has, which I'm not happy about, but whatever. Another, oh yeah, energy drinks. These will be your best friend here. Gotta love, these are definitely my favorite. The Java Monsters, I probably drink 3 or 4 of them a day. If you're working a lot of hours, these are definitely the answer. No, I'm not being paid to say it. But make energy drinks your best friend if you're working a lot of hours out here. And no, I wasn't paid to say that. I wish. If they would offer me a free supply for the rest of my life, I would gladly take it. I think that pretty much covers all the things I wanted to talk about in this video. It's already 25 minutes long that I can see. Oh yeah, actually one other thing. I made a app for Android phones. It's a very, very specific app, but if you're an oil field guy already, and you're doing hauling oil or production water, it may come in handy. It's a calculator, and like I said, this is very specific. A lot of you won't have any use for this whatsoever, but it's basically a calculator. You know, anyone that's doing this will understand what I'm saying about. You take your top gauge and your bottom gauge, you know, and then you've got to figure out the difference and times it by, you know, 1.67 to figure out how many barrels you put into your truck. This app does all the math for you. You just put in your top gauge and your bottom gauge, and it'll tell you how many gallons and how many barrels you have in it. It's on the Android Play Store. I'll post a link to it below, but it's completely free. I made it for myself whenever I move up into production water. That way I don't have to do the math, even though I learned how to do the math by making the app. But but it may come in handy to some of you out there. So, and like I said, if you're not doing that, there's no reason for you to download it. It's just going to take up room on your phone that you don't need, because it's a very, very specific app for one purpose, for the oil and production water drivers. But I figured I'd share that on here. And like I said, I'll post links below, and I'm going to try to post links for more places to find jobs. And like I said, keep posting comments. If you have something more specific you want to ask me, send me a message. I'll get back to you. You know, and I have no problem trying to help all of you out and try to, you know, help you get a job out here. So thank you, and you know, and I just, well, you know, and I have yet to run into anyone out here that recognizes me. So if you do, feel free to come up and ask me questions. I'm more than happy to talk to you. But anyway, I think that covers pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. So keep posting the comments. Hit the subscribe button. Like it if you liked it. If you didn't dislike it, that's fine too. But I will definitely try to make more of these videos in the future. All right.